Well, I'm joined now in the studio by the Wall Street Journal's world coverage chief, Gordon Fairclough, who's also Evan Gershkovich's boss. Gordon, thanks so much for coming in, and we can see your pin badge there as well. The last few weeks must have been incredibly tough for you and your colleagues. When was the last time you spoke to Evan?
Yes, I spoke to Evan, on Wednesday. He'll have been detained for 3 weeks now, and I guess I saw him probably a week or so before he was detained, or just before he left for his most recent trip to Russia.
When did you learn about what happened to him?
Well, we lost contact with him on the 29th of March. He was reporting outside of Moscow and missed his phone check-in and set off kind of a frantic search for him, and we didn't know what happened to him until the next morning when the FSB announced that he'd been arrested.
This is obviously your worst fears come true, but did you ever conceive something like this would happen to him, that he would be under this amount of threat?
Honestly, no. You know, I think we all factor in some understanding that jobs can be dangerous, and certainly Evan was no stranger to reporting in Russia and had been, on several of his assignments pretty aggressively surveilled and followed, but we really didn't expect them to go to this level.
Let me ask you this directly because it's important. Is he a spy?
Absolutely not. He's a journalist doing his job, and journalism is not a crime.
And how do you know he's not a spy? Because that's what the Russian government have charged him with.
Because he works for me. I know he's not a spy.
Okay.
The U.S. government also, I mean, my word's not good enough. You know, the White House spokeswoman said he's not a spy, he's never been a spy, he's never worked for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
The U.S. government, we should also point out, have officially designated him a hostage now as well.
That's correct.
Why, therefore, do you think he's been taken?
Well, there's a term for it now, in fact, hostage diplomacy, and the Russian deputy foreign minister, came out the other day and already is expressing a willingness to trade Evan for some prisoner being held by the United States or elsewhere. I think it's pretty clear that he's been taken for geopolitical aims.
As a political pawn for some sort of political benefit for Moscow. And would you encourage the United States government to trade him for someone?
We want him back, and I think there's no other way to get him back.
What do you know about the conditions he's been held in? You've had some words with him. The US ambassador was
U.S. ambassador was in to see him today, yes.
Is he comfortable? Is he being interrogated? Is he in any sort of pain?
The ambassador reported he was in good health. His lawyers, our lawyers, have met with him several times. He seems to have retained his sense of humor. He wrote a letter to his family, which they got at the end of last week, in which he was making jokes about the prison food. So at least his spirit is intact. So I hope that's a sign that he's doing well.
Let's talk about tomorrow, because he appears in court for the first time in a Moscow court. He's already been charged with espionage. Tomorrow, he hopes to get himself released from jail, so at least he can wait for that trial, if it ever comes, in a little bit more comfort. What do you think will happen tomorrow?
That's right. Well, we've been advised by the lawyers not to be terribly optimistic about tomorrow. Something like 99% of espionage cases in Russia result in a conviction, and the proceedings are almost always completely secret, so we may not have a lot of transparency into what happens.
Okay, a little bit dispiriting, but you at least expect to hear him speak tomorrow?
We don't know, honestly. We're learning a lot about the Russian judicial system, but he might appear in person in court. He might appear by video link. We don't really know. We also don't know if the courtroom will be open to reporters, or if so, which reporters. So we're going to have to wait and see tomorrow.
It's going to be another long day.
It will be.
Gordon Fairclough from the Wall Street Journal, thank you so much for your time.